Move, Cripple! The tallest boy shoved the back of her chair, sending it lurching forward. Emma's hands gripped the wheels, her knuckles white, her heart hammering against her ribs like a caged bird desperate to escape. This wasn't how the day was supposed to end. 2 hours earlier, Emma had convinced her mother to let her explore the pier alone, just for 20 minutes, just to prove she could do it. At 12 years old, cerebral palsy didn't define her, even if the world seemed determined to make it so. She'd wanted to feel normal, to buy cotton candy and watch the street performers without someone hovering, worrying, protecting. Now she wished she'd never left her mother's side. I said move. Another shove, harder this time. The wheelchair rolled dangerously close to the pier's edge, where the Pacific Ocean churned 30 feet below. Emma's breath caught in her throat. She tried to speak, to tell them to stop, but fear had stolen her voice. The second boy, shorter, with a cruel smile, kicked the footrest of her wheelchair. The metal rang out like a bell and Emma flinched. What's wrong? Can't run away? His friends laughed, a sound that cut deeper than any physical wound. Tourists passed by, their eyes sliding away from the scene like water off glass. No one wanted to get involved. No one wanted to be the person who stepped forward. In a crowd of hundreds, Emma had never felt more alone. Then she heard it. A rumble, low and deep, like distant thunder rolling across the California coastline. The sound grew louder, vibrating through the wooden planks beneath her wheels. The bullies heard it too. Their laughter faltered. Around the corner of the pier, motorcycles appeared. Not just one or two, but dozens, a river of chrome and leather flowing toward them. The lead bike was a massive Harley-Davidson, piloted by a man whose gray beard reached his chest and whose arms bore tattoos that told stories of decades on the road. Behind him, more bikers followed, their engines creating a symphony of power that made the pier itself seem to tremble. The bullies stepped back. The tall one's bravado crumbled like a sandcastle against the tide. The lead biker killed his engine. The silence that followed was deafening. He dismounted with practiced ease, his boots heavy on the weathered wood. He was easily 6'4", built like a mountain, wearing a leather vest that proclaimed him nomad of the Guardians Motorcycle Club. We got a problem here? His voice was gravelly, shaped by years of wind and road dust. The bullies scattered like roaches when someone turns on a kitchen light. They didn't run, that would have been too obvious. But they melted into the crowd, with the practiced efficiency of cowards who'd done this before. Emma sat frozen, unsure if she should be relieved or terrified. She'd never been this close to bikers before. Everything she knew came from movies and news reports, and none of it was particularly reassuring. The man called Nomad crouched down, bringing himself to Emma's eye level. Up close, she could see his eyes were kind, a warm brown that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. You okay, darling? Emma nodded, not trusting her voice yet. Those boys give you trouble? This time she managed a whisper. They wanted me to move. Nomad's jaw tightened. He glanced back at his fellow riders. Now, a semicircle of leather and denim surrounding Emma's wheelchair like a protective wall. Well, he said, turning back to her, seems to me you got every right to be exactly where you are. A woman dismounted from one of the bikes, removing her helmet to reveal silver hair pulled back in a practical braid. She approached with a gentle smile. Hi, sweetie. I'm Diane. What's your name? Emma. That's a beautiful name. Diane pulled a bottle of water from her saddlebag and offered it to Emma. You look like you could use this. Emma accepted it with shaking hands. As she drank, she noticed more details about the bikers surrounding her. They weren't the menacing figures from movies. There was a young Asian man with glasses checking his phone. A black woman with graying temples was offering granola bars to the group. An older Hispanic man with a prosthetic leg was leaning against his bike, watching the crowd with protective vigilance. Nomad stood up, addressing his club. What do you say we make sure Emma here gets where she needs to go safely? A chorus of agreement rose from the group. Within minutes, Emma found herself at the center of an impromptu escort. 2 bikers walked ahead of her wheelchair, clearing a path through the crowd. 2 more flanked her sides. Nomad walked behind, one hand resting lightly on the back of her chair, not pushing, just present. People stared, but this time Emma didn't feel exposed. She felt protected, powerful even. Where were you headed before those punks interrupted? Diane asked, walking beside her. I was going to get cotton candy. It's my favorite. Mine too, Diane said with a conspiratorial wink. The pink kind or the blue? Pink. A woman of excellent taste. At the cotton candy vendor, Nomad insisted on paying. When Emma protested, he shook his head. My granddaughter's about your age. Has the same kind of chair you do. Someone did something like this for her once, and I swore I'd pay it forward every chance I got. Emma's eyes widened. Really? Really, spina bifida. Hasn't slowed her down one bit. She's already planning to climb half. Dome in Yosemite next year with adaptive equipment. That's amazing, Emma breathed. You know what's amazing? Nomad handed her the cotton candy, the largest serving the vendor offered. How brave you are coming out here by yourself. Takes guts. Emma felt something loosen in her chest, a knot she hadn't realized was there. I didn't feel very brave a few minutes ago. Brave isn't not being scared, said the man with the prosthetic leg, joining the conversation. Brave is being scared and doing it anyway. Those boys? They're cowards. You're the brave one. Tears pricked Emma's eyes, but they weren't tears of fear or sadness. They were something else entirely, a release, a recognition, a feeling of being truly seen. Where's your mom? Diane asked gently. Emma pointed toward the carousel. She's probably looking for me. I was supposed to be back 10 minutes ago. Let's get you to her then. I bet she's worried. The procession moved toward the carousel, Emma eating cotton candy at its center. Children pointed and waved. Adults smiled. The bikers nodded back, their presence transforming the atmosphere around them. What could have been? The worst day of Emma's life was becoming something entirely different, a memory of kindness, of strangers who chose to care. They found Emma's mother pacing near the carousel, her phone pressed to her ear, panic etched into every line of her face. When she saw Emma surrounded by motorcycles and leather-clad riders, she froze. Mom, Emma called out. It's okay. They helped me. What followed was a flurry of explanations, gratitude, and more than a few tears from Emma's mother. Nomad explained what happened with the bullies, his voice steady and calm. Emma's mother clutched her daughter's hand, then did something unexpected. She hugged Nomad, this mountain of a man who'd protected her daughter when she couldn't. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you so much. Just doing what anyone should do, Nomad replied gruffly, clearly uncomfortable with the emotion. But before the bikers could leave, Emma had something to say. Wait! She wheeled herself forward, looking up at the group that had formed a shield around her. I want to remember this. Can we take a picture? What resulted was a photograph that would later go viral on social media. 12-year-old Emma Garcia, beaming in her wheelchair, cotton candy in hand, surrounded by 37 members of the Guardians Motorcycle Club. The caption Emma's mother posted was simple. Today, my daughter learned that angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they have motorcycles and hearts of gold. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, and the bikers prepared to ride into the gathering darkness, Nomad crouched one last time beside Emma's chair. You remember what I said about being brave? Emma nodded. Keep being brave, Emma. The world needs more people like you in it. The world needs more people like you, too, she replied. Nomad smiled, a real smile that transformed his weathered face. Maybe, but I think we just need more people willing to stop when someone needs help. That's all. Just people willing to stop. The motorcycles roared to life, a thunderous goodbye that echoed across the pier. Emma and her mother watched until the last taillight disappeared into the night, leaving behind only the memory of kindness offered freely, protection given without expectation, and the simple truth that sometimes the most unlikely heroes are exactly the ones we need. On the way home, Emma was quiet, processing everything that had happened. Her mother glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Pretty eventful 20 minutes alone, huh? Emma smiled, still tasting cotton candy and courage. Can I go back next week? Her mother laughed, a sound full of relief and love. We'll see. Maybe next time I'll come with you, though. That's okay, Emma said, looking out at the lights of Santa Monica fading behind them. I think I'd like that. Because that was the thing about being brave. Sometimes it meant facing the world alone, and sometimes it meant knowing when to let others stand beside you. Emma had learned both lessons in one sunset at the pier, taught by bullies who showed her cruelty and bikers who showed her that humanity, at its core, is still worth believing in.